Namaskar and welcome to Sansad Television. I am Vishal Dahiya and you're watching our show Perspective, where we bring you detailed analysis of key national and international issues. Today, we're going to talk about the issue of safeguarding our democratic values. Now, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi's recent comments during his London visit regarding microphone being turned off in Parliament has come under severe criticism from various quarters. Vice President and Rajya Sabha Chairman Jagdeep Dhankhar on Thursday said no political strategy or partisan stance can justify compromising our nationalism and democratic values. Earlier, Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman had also termed Rahul Gandhi's statement as absolutely false and baseless. Let's listen in to both of them.
How ironical, how painful, how excruciating pain people like him can feel. The world is applauding our historic accomplishments and functional, vibrant democracy. Some amongst us, including parliamentarians, in overdrive, are engaged in thoughtless, unfair denigration of our well-nurtured democratic values. How do we justify such wanton orchestration of factually untenable narrative? And mark the timing, this unwholesome misadventure. India is having a moment of glory, being president of G20, and there are people outside from the country working in overdrive to denigrate us. Such misplaced campaign mode to taint and tarnish our parliament and constitutional entities is too serious and exceptional to be ignored and countenanced. Friends, no political strategy or partisan stance can justify compromising our nationalism and democratic values. My silence on this misadventure, if I observe silence on this orchestration by a member parliament outside the country, which is ill-premised, unwholesome, motivated, I would be on the wrong side of Constitution. It will be constitutional culpability and outrage of my oath.
मैं किसी व्यक्ति विशेष की बातों के संदर्भ में कुछ नहीं कहूंगा, लेकिन अपने अनुभव के आधार पर कहना चाहूंगा कि यह नितांत असत्य, बेबुनियाद, आधारहीन, नथिंग कैन बी मोर फॉल्स देन दिस। मैं पिछले 9 वर्षों से संसद में हूं और मैं अपने अनुभव से कह सकता हूं कि इस तरह की बात किसी से आज तक न सुनने को मुझे मिली, न मेरी जानकारी में। भारतीय संसद लोकतंत्र का जीवंत स्वरूप है। 1952 से जिन परंपराओं, जिन नियमों, जिन ट्रेडिशंस, जिन व्यवस्थाओं के तहत संसद चलती रही है, आज भी उन्हीं के तहत चल रही है। तो इस तरह की बात कम से कम मेरी जानकारी में नहीं है, और जितना मैं जानता हूं किसी और ने भी संसद के अंदर और बाहर इस तरह की बात कम से कम मेरी जानकारी में नहीं कही। इसलिए जैसा मैंने कहा, नितांत असत्य, बेबुनियाद, आधारहीन, असत्य, गलत, इससे अप्रमाणित, अपुष्ट कोई और बात नहीं हो सकती।
So there it is. We heard both the chairman of Rajya Sabha and deputy chairman's comments also on this issue. We'll look at all aspects of this particular matter and try and understand, analyze and discuss the implications, the seriousness of the issue here as well. And for more on this, we're joined by a distinguished panel of experts. Let me first introduce them to you, beginning with Mr. K.V. Prasad, the senior journalist, is joining us. Been covering Parliament for quite a long time, keeping a watch on all the issues. Welcome to our studios, Mr. Prasad. We're also joined by 2 more gentlemen, senior journalists, Mr. Sanjay Singh and Mr. Shekhar Iyer as well. Welcome both of you also to our show. I'll start with you, Sanjay ji, and let's first start by understanding some basic aspects here and understanding some basic issues when this matter is concerned. One is how serious is this situation here? You know, the comments coming in from a particular leader outside the country on a matter, and you heard the views of both the chairman and the deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha on these comments.
Vishal, I fully appreciate what Chairman Dhankhar ji said and what Deputy Chairman Harivansh ji said. This was about Rahul Gandhi. Of course, Harivansh ji did not name Rahul Gandhi, but he said what he said. The chairman also made a very strong remark that he would be failing in his duty if he had not pointed this out and had not spoken on the subject, which I think is a very, very strong statement. And rightly so, because Rahul Gandhi, few things, he has not spoken on one forum. He is going from one forum to another. Of course, from university to committee room of British Parliament and several other places, also interacting with the groups. A few things which you don't say. He is not appearing to be anti-government, anti-Modi, but he is appearing to be anti-nation. The problem, irony, and the problem is for Congress, for Devkant Barua, it was Indra. Indra is India, and India is Indra. For Rahul Gandhi, somehow, and for other congressmen of his ilk, what has happened that they believe and have started, they feel and have started believing that democracy is of the Congress rule, by the Congress rule, for the Congress rule, and there is no democracy if the Gandhi Parivar does not either directly or indirectly, through remote or otherwise, control the government at the center. That's the irony. And you had seen Shankar Iyer going to Pakistan and there he sought support of Pakistani people and different agencies to overthrow Modi government. Here, Rahul Gandhi now realizes that there is no way that he can overthrow Modi government, he can kind of remove Modi government through democratic process in India. Of course, he's not going to get much support from the West. But fact remains that when you go there, when you say that your mic has been switched off and he has been sent to jail on multiple occasions, Rahul Gandhi should also say as to how many times and where and when he was sent to jail. To the best of my knowledge, he has never been to jail. In Lok Sabha also, when Rahul Gandhi, the Lok Sabha Speaker, Sri Om Birla, had reminded Rahul Gandhi that he makes this statement that his mic is switched off, and his mic has never been switched off. He spoke in detail what he wanted to speak. Okay. And that was during Thanksgiving motion to President's address. And Rahul Gandhi went on to talk about his Bharat Jhoro, of course, but not coming on the subject. That is a different matter altogether. But when you go to a foreign country, you know that this is an age whereby even if the audience is small, that is broadcast on digital platforms, on social media, and several other platforms. Okay. And when Rahul Gandhi points somebody out in the audience and say, hey, you are Sikh, you are from India, and there you are treated as second-class citizen. What is this? Can a sensible person, an Indian citizen, forget about leader of Congress party, talk something like this? This is beyond somebody's comprehension, my comprehension at least. Then you go and ask, then you seek foreign intervention, Western countries, Europe and America in particular, to kind of restore democracy in India. Okay. Because Rahul Gandhi is failing, and Congress party is failing, and therefore you are seeking support. Okay. He goes to the British Parliament Committee, and there again he talks same thing.
Okay. Now that maybe, as you know, Mr. Sanjay Singh is pointing out, that maybe the political strategy, or perhaps the individual strategy of a particular political leader. But Mr. Iyer, I'd like to bring your attention to what the chairman said, in his remarks, the chairman of Rajya Sabha, and he made it very clear when he said that no political strategy or partisan stance can justify compromising our democratic values. So there it is. The indication seemingly is pretty clear that, political parties, there are so many political parties in our country. They might have a particular strategy, they might have a stand, but ultimately you cannot denigrate the democratic values of the nation and specifically the seat of democracy in the country, that is the parliament.
Absolutely, Vishalji. What the Vice President and Rajya Sabha Chairman, sir, try to point out is, look, the political battles will go on. See, every political leader and every politician worth is his or her salt. has in n number of issues to corner the government, fight the government. But then they are also part of the system. See, if you are going to denigrate the system, if you are going to say, look, my party is not winning elections, that is because election commission as an institution is not functioning. Or if I am not able to marshal enough facts to corner the government in parliament, bring out facts, that means parliament is not under my control. So if it is not under my control, it is against me. Now, this kind of, at one level looks very childish. For a person who has spent now is going to complete almost 20 years in parliament because he got elected in 2004. Now, the other side is, look, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Are you so frustrated that you feel that all that available resources at your command as a political leader, as a leading light of a very old party of this country, do you feel that the only way you can, your politics can get revived, the Congress party's future can be secured only by foreign intervention or by questioning, the chair? This is a new trend I am seeing. Previously, when a ruling was given, the golden rule, Mr. Prasad would appreciate, well, you don't challenge the chair. Chair is not part of your political fight against the government. See, what do the chair say every time, whether it is Lok Sabha or Lok Sabha? Well, follow the rules, look at the rules and procedures, raise your issues, give adequate notice. The forum is available for debate. But you deliberately chose a course in which the chair is, cannot accept that particular form, or you are not interested in the debate because you don't want to hear the answers. Now, these are all, as Vice President said, this may be a strategy, but spare the institution of causing any damage to the institution.
Okay.
Because Rahul Gandhi.
Mr. Iyer, we lost your audio.
Institutions will remain.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
institutions will have to be protected by all. It is a duty of whether it is ruling party or opposition party of every member of parliament. In fact, all of us, because parliament is an institution in the welfare of all of us. We owe it to all.
Okay. Mr. Prasad, I'd like to, ask you something here. Of course, we'll talk about the veracity, the importance and the seriousness of the situation here, the context in which remarks are made, on institutions on which remarks are made. But before that, if you look back in your career and days as someone who's covered Parliament for so long, just like the other two gentlemen here, is this the first time that such a situation has occurred, or has there been earlier instances also when some situations like these have occurred, wherein such comments have been made, or they have been become the cause of such an issue here?
See, I may not be able to come to an exact thing where such a thing was said in an overseas platform as is being referred to by my two colleagues who are here. But the fact is, over a period of time, opposition and party in government have had these standoffs. We've been discussing on many issues.
Yeah.
And there are times when the opposition of the day comes out and tells the people who hear, including members of media and others, हमारी आवाज़ उठने नहीं देते या हम जो कहना चाहते हैं वो स्पष्ट. So there have been these issues, but they have been largely in the platforms available inside the house and outside the house. In the presence of Parliament, you have members of media, formally, informally. End of the day, what happens, as Mr. Iyer also pointed out, the fact is Parliament belongs to both the government and the opposition. Together, it is duty of both of them to make sure that the business is transacted. The government has the duty to get its business transacted. At the same time, opposition has its issues that it needs to highlight. So this is how it works. And we always mention the spirit of accommodation keeps continuing this great journey along. There could be standoffs, there could be differences, there could be disagreements. Eventually, there are rules. Within the rules, there are certain procedures that have to be adopted, and the way forward has to be looked at. So this, unless there is a breakdown of communication, that leads to a logjam. And that is what, when senior party leaders, parliamentary managers on all sides come together and find a way out. They find a middle ground and find a way forward, and then Parliament continues. So we have seen this happen repeatedly the last 25 years that have been here.
Okay, but you spoke about issues like these, but then there's always that invisible line which is never crossed by both sides, be it the opposition or the government, while putting across their point or trying to corner each other. We've all seen that, both inside the parliament and outside the parliament as well.
Well, there had been an instance, if I'm not mistaken, about 15 years ago, there was a notice on particular issue. The speaker had taken a firm notice, and the then opposition came to the house and demonstrated they were not being allowed to speak. Subsequently, the matter was resolved by the intervention of the leader of the house, the leader of opposition, and they apologized to they kind of expressed, rather assured the chair that both opposition and government will cooperate with the chair to run the house smoothly.
Okay.
And then it moved on. So there have been instances in this, I think, in Parliament in one of the cases. In another case, way back, I think in the 1990s, Shekhar will also recollect, there was a standoff between the government and the party which was supporting the government. And the then speaker decided to adjourn the house sine die. He said, you please sort out your problem. Come to the house after you sort out your political differences. I am here to run the house for it. So there have been these instances, but this is something probably different. But here I would like to, if I'm not mistaken, during the Bharat Jodo Yatra, at times Mr. Gandhi had referred to similar charges. I think it just the fact that he went there and said it in a different platform, it has taken a different dimension.
Okay, okay. And Mr. Sanjay Singh, we're talking about the democratic values. We're talking about the highest seat of democracy in the country, that is Parliament. And again, I'll refer to what the Rajya Sabha chairman said in terms of fullest freedom of expression in the country, in the Parliament as well. How would you analyze the situation here, given the fact that Mr. Prasad is also referring to it? You've also covered Parliament for so long. You understand, the political strategies differ. Of course, the government would like to, have its say, have its way rather, and the opposition would like to have its say, try and corner the government as well. This is what the democracy is all about.
Vishal, two issues here. Chairman Rajya Sabha, in his working in last few months, I have seen that he is a very mature person. He gives opposition adequate space. At the same time, he has complete clarity in his mind on issues concerned. So therefore, when he is speaking on something like this, on a subject as serious as this, about a leader as prominent as Rahul Gandhi, therefore the issue has to be taken seriously. No matter what people say about it, but the issue has to be taken up seriously. The second thing, Rahul Gandhi said same thing during Bharat Jodo Yatra. The difference between Rahul Gandhi saying it here and Rahul Gandhi saying it there. Over the years, in last 20 years of Rahul Gandhi's public life, people of this country have a clear understanding as to what Rahul Gandhi is, who Rahul Gandhi is, what he stands for, and what kind of leader he is, or organizer, or somebody who is leading the Congress party. And people have given their verdict in the center twice, in the various states again and again and again and again. Rahul Gandhi, irrespective whether Rahul Gandhi goes to a state to campaign or not campaign, but fact remains that he is leader of Congress party. And people have voted, they've given their preferences very clearly for or against Rahul Gandhi. No-brainer as to what people's verdict is and have been, and what they perceive about Rahul Gandhi. The problem is when Rahul Gandhi is addressing a Western audience, the audience out there may not be knowing or may not be knowing as to what Rahul Gandhi stands for. So therefore, some of them may take what Rahul Gandhi is saying at the face value, and therefore start believing, oh, India is a very bad country. Those who say that India is leading, has become number 5 country in GDP in terms of leaving Britain behind. Also a whole lot of foreign investors and so on and so forth. There are a whole lot of other agencies, NGOs and foreign publications which I think go on and on with agenda-driven motives. So therefore, you give a leverage to those people. Okay, I'm not saying this, your most prominent leader is saying this. And some people who don't know Rahul Gandhi as to what he stands for as a leader, as a public person, and somebody who is leading Congress party and his family for so long. Therefore, the question arises there. And when you say that, you go to British Parliament committee and there you say that you address to a section of parliamentarians, you section a group of students and their academics, and there you say something like this, then you point out point at somebody else. Okay, he's from minority community and therefore he's oppressed in India because Manmohan Singh had said Muslims have first right over natural resources and these kind, and therefore the problem arises. Had he same thing, he has been saying same things here, nobody actually notices. At
Okay.
least a large, vast majority of people actually don't listen to Rahul as to what Rahul Gandhi is saying. But there lies the problem. If he's saying that this also on platforms which are semi-official,
Okay.
and therefore I think the chairman Rajya Sabha has said what he said.
Okay, okay. Mr. Iyer, so it looks like, the crux of the situation here, and then you referred to it in your earlier response as well, but just to, put it across again, is the fact that political parties and their leaders can have their narratives, can have their strategy, can have their stance as well, but not at the cost of democratic institutions.
Yeah, definitely. You see, every political party goes through a cycle of ups and downs, and they have to fight their political battle. But in fighting their political battles and their political opponents and their rivals, they have to guard against their own frustration, which should not get reflected as, a kind of a relative reality, which may not be close to the absolute reality. See that the whole problem is when you feel that, when you are confused about your own leadership, about your own progress in the political course of the party you are leading in some form or the other, and then you feel frustrated. You feel frustrated by the fact that you are not able to, move the masses to support your party to win the election. Now, it's an individual battle. It is a political battle. It's a battle of a political party. All parties have gone through this. But for you to, lose so much of hope, because what come across is here is an individual who has completely lost hope as to reviving his own party or even finding a place in, the course of the political struggle of his party or his own struggle. So such a person tends to see everything, as they say, a lame man blames the tools. A person sees that everything is against me. Now, I think such people would need counseling, a better counseling, rather than allow themselves to be exploited by some people who are only interested in showing my democracy is bad in India, things are not working in India. I mean, we have seen parliament. We have these very parties who are saying, did we not see them in the Rajya Sabha standing on the chair, throwing books at the on their chair and throwing the chairs towards the table? Have we not seen all this? Have we not seen breaking of mics? I mean, we have been witness to some of the very ghastly incidents, most horrific incidents that have happened, and all of us have felt bad. Look, a parliament has to function as per the rules and procedures. Whether it is ruling party or opposition party, we have to follow it. And the chair's job is to ensure that it is done so that everybody has gets to say. See, you cannot, imagine yourself, you're battling some, windmill. I mean, I am reminded of Don Quixote and that windmill.
Okay. Last quick question to you. Would you agree what, both, Mr. Iyer and Mr. Sanjay Singh are referring to, that ultimately Parliament is the supreme institution in a democratic setup like ours, and you cannot blame the democratic institutions, by you I mean the political parties and their leaders, for the failings of your political strategies. Perhaps that would require a tweak of their own political strategies. It cannot be at the cost of or blaming of the democratic institutions like the parliament. They will function with rules and regulations which have been put in place by the parliament, members of parliament themselves.
Well, Vishal, one thing is very clear, which both my colleagues have referred to. Parliament is an institution, and institution building is a process which continues for a long time. It is not something that you build overnight. We have inherited a great institution which was built over the years by conventions and practices. And those conventions and practices continue, along with the rules and regulations of both the houses, continue to be the touchstone, if I were to say, in terms of the working of a parliamentary democracy. So every individual or every member of parliament is responsible to further that particular thing. And I remember once, I think Mr. Somnath Chatterjee, when there was a commotion in the House as a speaker, he said, this is the only system we have in which we run our government and the country. So please, we have to ensure that this works.
Okay. Okay, of course. Ultimate goal is that we will have to ensure the democratic institutions work. They fulfill the responsibility which is entrusted upon them, and that can happen with those who are members of those institutions fulfilling their responsibility therein as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Prasad, Mr. Shekhar, Iyer, and Mr. Sanjay Singh as well for sharing your valuable inputs and insight on this very important aspect of how we need to go ahead and safeguard our democratic values, our democratic institutions, as well institutions like the Parliament, the highest seat in the democracy. We'll keep a close watch on all the developments here and come back again with a different topic. Till then, keep watching Sansad Television. Thank you.